They kicked me out when I was 7 months pregnant, calling me a burden. Then just days later my own mother invited me to my baby shower. A twisted attempt to make things right. What actually happened when I got there? It shattered my entire world. I walked into the restaurant, brimming with a desperate hope for reconciliation. But the party, my baby shower, was already over. Tables were littered with empty plates, decorations being torn down like a forgotten dream. And then her voice, sharp and cruel, cut through the quiet. Pay the $6,800 bill. Right now. My mind reeled. What? I just got here. I stammered, utterly confused. That's when my sister, Charlotte, stepped forward, a venomous smirk playing on her lips. Consider it payback for all those years, she drawled. When I refused, explaining I hadn't even attended, the world went dark. A heavy wooden menu board swung, connecting with my head with a sickening thud. I collapsed onto the cold restaurant floor, searing pain blooming in my skull, while my family stood over me demanding money. But then a familiar voice, full of thunderous fury, ripped through the chaos. Jason. He walked in, having followed me, and exposed a shocking secret that made my mother shake with terror. I'm trying to write all of this down before my lawyer tells me it's a bad idea. My hands are still trembling, and our baby girl keeps kicking, almost as if she knows something terrible happened. This bandage on my head. It itches, but the doctor warned me not to touch it for another week. It's hard to believe this is my life now. It all started when I found out I was pregnant. Jason and I had been married for 2 years, trying for a while. My parents had always talked about grandchildren, subtly, or not so subtly, pressuring us. Charlotte already had Sophie and Dylan, the perfect grandchildren, so I felt this weight on my shoulders to add to the family tree. When the test finally came back positive, I was ecstatic. I just knew they'd be thrilled. I called my mother first, practically bursting with the news. But the second I said the words, her voice went colder than an Alaskan winter. You're pregnant? Helen asked, as if I just announced a terminal illness. Yes, I chirped, trying to keep my excitement alive. Jason and I are so excited. We wanted you to be the first to know. Silence. A suffocating, heavy silence. I could hear her breathing change, becoming shallow, agitated. We need to talk, she finally said. Come to the house tomorrow. She hung up before I could even respond. Jason saw the fear creeping onto my face and pulled me into his arms. I felt a dark storm gathering on the horizon, but I had no idea just how devastating it would be. The next day, I drove the familiar 40 minutes from Denver to my childhood home in Willow Creek. Everything looked the same: Dad's truck, Charlotte's minivan. But the air felt heavy, ominous. I walked in without knocking like I always had, and found them all waiting in the living room. Helen, Marcus, Charlotte, her husband Eric. Thank God the kids weren't there. Helen, the queen bee, held court. Marcus, her silent enforcer, stood behind her. Charlotte, ever the smug older sister, perched on the couch, Eric looking deeply uncomfortable beside her. Sit down, Helen commanded. I sat on the ottoman, my stomach churning. We need to discuss your situation, my mother began, her hands folded primly. My pregnancy isn't a situation. It's a baby, I retorted, feeling a flare of defiance. Charlotte snorted. Always so dramatic. We'd never been close. She was the golden child, married young, wealthy husband, perfect kids. I was the rebellious one, college out of state, married for love, not money, carved my own path. You can't afford a child, Helen continued, cutting me off. Jason makes what, 50,000? And you're barely making more. How do you plan to raise a baby on that? My face burned with humiliation and anger. We've been saving. We have a plan. A plan? Marcus sneered, his voice dripping with contempt. Your sister needed real help with Sophie and Dylan. We gave her $20,000 for each child. Do you think we can do that for you? I was stunned. I never asked for money. But you'll need it, Charlotte chimed in, inspecting her nails. Babies are expensive. Daycare alone will eat up your salary. Unless you expect Mom and Dad to babysit for free. I looked at my mother, her face a mask of stone. We've decided, Helen said slowly, deliberately, that it would be best if you terminated the pregnancy. The room actually tilted. I gripped the ottoman to steady myself. Excuse me. Charlotte didn't miss a beat. You heard her. Get an abortion. It's simple. Then you can focus on your career, save up some actual money, maybe try again in a few years when you're more stable. My blood ran cold. I'm not getting an abortion. This baby is wanted. Jason and I want this child. Helen's jaw tightened. Then you're on your own. We won't support this mistake. Mistake. The word echoed in my head. I stood, my legs trembling. This is your grandchild. Marcus cut me off flatly. It's a burden. One you're not prepared for. We raised you better than this. We gave you everything, and this is how you repay us? By making stupid decisions. Tears streamed down my face. I couldn't help it. What did I ever do to you? Why do you hate me so much? Charlotte stood and walked over, getting right in my face, her eyes blazing. You want to know? Fine. You were the accident baby. The one who ruined Mom's career. She had to quit her job at the bank because of you. She was up for vice president. Did you know that? But she got pregnant. Dad insisted she stay home, and she never forgave you for it. I looked at Helen. She didn't deny it. Just stared at me with those cold gray eyes. Get out, my mother said quietly. Get out of this house and don't come back until you've made the right choice. Mom, please. Get out. I stumbled to my car, sobbing so hard I could barely see. I called Jason from the driveway, the words barely making it past my lips. He told me to come home, that everything would be okay. But I knew deep down nothing would ever truly be okay again. The next 2 weeks were pure hell. I called my mother 3 times, she hung up each time. I texted Charlotte, begging her to talk to them. She replied with a single chilling word. No. Jason held me as I cried myself to sleep each night. We'd been looking at cribs, painting the nursery a soft yellow. Now every baby item felt like a cruel reminder of my family's absolute rejection. Jason's parents lived in Oregon, too far to physically help, but his mother called twice a week, sending packages full of baby clothes and unwavering encouragement. Work became both my sanctuary and my prison. My colleague Jennifer noticed something was wrong. I'd been staring at my laptop for 10 minutes, unable to type. Hey, you okay? She asked, pulling her chair closer. I wanted to lie, to say I was fine, but my face betrayed me. The tears came before I could stop them. Jennifer ushered me into an empty conference room and closed the door. I told her everything. The pregnancy, their reaction, Helen's demand, the cold, final severance. She listened without interruption, her expression darkening with each detail. Finally she said, her voice firm. That's abuse. What they're doing to you is emotional abuse. Hearing someone else name it, validate it, made something crack open inside me. I'd been making excuses, trying to understand their twisted logic, wondering if maybe I was being irresponsible. But Jennifer's words cut through that fog. My wife and I went through something similar, Jennifer continued. Her parents disowned her for being gay. Didn't speak to her for 3 years. It nearly destroyed her. She paused, her gaze steady. But here's what I learned. People who truly love you don't weaponize that love. They don't make it conditional. I wiped my eyes with the tissue she handed me. I keep thinking they'll change their minds, I whispered. That they'll wake up and realize how cruel they're being. Maybe they will, Jennifer replied. But you can't put your life on hold waiting for that. You have to protect yourself and your baby first. Jennifer helped me email our supervisor, explaining I needed to work from home more due to pregnancy complications. She didn't need to know those complications were emotional, not physical. My boss, bless her, was understanding. Working from home should have been a relief, but it left me alone with my thoughts too much. Our apartment felt smaller each day. I'd walk past the nursery, the half-painted walls, the unassembled crib, the unopened diaper packages, and each item was a painful reminder of the hope I'd had before that devastating meeting. Jason suggested we finish the nursery one Saturday. We put on music, old songs from when we first started dating. He climbed the ladder to paint the upper walls while I did the lower. His terrible singing made me laugh, truly laugh, for the first time in days. This kid is going to have the best room, he said, surveying our work. Better than anything I had growing up. You grew up in a nice house, I pointed out. I grew up in a house full of love, he corrected. That's what made it nice. The furniture was thrift store specials. The carpet was 20 years old. But my parents made it feel like a castle. He climbed down and wrapped his arms around me from behind, his hands resting on my belly. That's what we're going to give Emma. Not expensive stuff, just love and safety, and the knowledge that we'll always be on her side. I leaned back against him, feeling the baby kick against his palms. How do you always know the right thing to say? I don't, he murmured. I just know you, and I know we're going to be okay. But okay felt miles away. Then 3 days later my Aunt Paula called. My mother's younger sister, the one who moved to Arizona and only visited at Christmas. Her voice sounded strained. Your mother told me what happened, she began. My stomach dropped. Of course, Helen had called her, painting me as the villain. She said you're pregnant and being stubborn about it. Stubborn? The word tasted like ash in my mouth. Is that what she called it? I asked. Paula sighed. She's my sister and I love her, but I didn't call to take her side. I called because I remember what she was like after she had you. I sat down slowly on the couch. What do you mean? Helen was different before you were born. Ambitious, driven, excited about her career. She really was up for that VP position. But when she got pregnant with you, everything changed. Your father was old-fashioned. Thought mothers should stay home. They argued about it constantly. This was news to me. My parents had always presented a united front, At least publicly. She quit the bank when you were 3 months old, Paula continued. I visited her a week later, and she was a different person. Bitter. Resentful. She told me she felt like her life was over. That she traded everything she'd worked for to change diapers and wipe spit up. Why are you telling me this? I whispered. Because I need you to understand that what she's doing to you isn't about you. It never was. She's projecting her own regrets onto your situation. She sees you making the same choice she made. And it's triggering something dark in her. Paula paused. That doesn't excuse her behavior, of course. Nothing excuses what she said to you. But maybe it helps to know you didn't cause this. Her pain is old, and it has nothing to do with who you are, or what kind of mother you'll be. I was crying again silently this time. Did she ask you to call me? I managed. God no. She'd be furious if she knew. I'm calling because Charlotte posted something on Facebook yesterday. A vague status about family members who take advantage and refuse to be accountable. I figured it was about you, and I just couldn't stay quiet anymore. Charlotte blocked me on everything, I said. I know. That's why I'm calling. Listen, I'm not going to pretend I can fix this or that I have some magic solution. But I want you to know that not everyone in this family thinks you're wrong. You're going to be a wonderful mother. Don't let Helen's damaged past convince you otherwise. After we hung up, I sat with Paula's words for a long time. Understanding Helen's motivations didn't make the hurt less, but it did make the cruelty less personal somehow. She wasn't rejecting me. She was rejecting her own past choices, the sacrifices she'd made that I reminded her of. Jason came home to find me still on the couch, staring into space. Bad day? He asked. Enlightening day, I replied. I told him about Paula's call, about Helen's hidden history. Jason listened intently, then shook his head. It explains her behavior, but it doesn't justify it. Plenty of people have regrets and don't take them out on their kids. I know, I said. I feel like I understand her a little better now. Like maybe there's a path back to some kind of relationship eventually. Maybe, Jason said, his tone skeptical. Or maybe you're better off without people who can't see past their own pain long enough to love you properly. If you're finding strength in this story of resilience, or if you've ever felt the crushing weight of family expectations, please hit that subscribe button. There are more unbelievable stories coming. And your support means the world. The 5th month of pregnancy brought new challenges. Morning sickness was mostly gone, but I developed gestational diabetes. Endocrinologist appointments, blood sugar testing, careful meal planning. It all felt overwhelming. This was exactly the kind of situation where I would have called my mother before, asked for advice, maybe cried a little while she reassured me. Instead, I called Catherine, Jason's mother. She answered on the second ring, her voice warm and immediately concerned. Oh honey, she said. I had that with Jason's older brother. It's manageable, I promise. Let me email you some recipes. And don't be scared of the blood sugar monitor. Think of it as information, not judgment. We talked for an hour. By the end I felt lighter. Thank you, I said. I wish you lived closer. We're thinking about visiting next month, she replied. Tom wants to help Jason install the car seat. He's been watching YouTube videos about it for weeks. I laughed, picturing my gentle father-in-law studying car seat installation with the intensity he brought to his accounting work. We'd love that. After Catherine's visit was scheduled, something shifted in me. Maybe blood family wasn't everything. Maybe chosen family people who showed up, who cared, who helped without keeping score mattered more. The 6th month arrived with false labor pains that sent us to the hospital at 2 a.m. The doctor examined me, said everything was fine and sent us home. Jason called in sick, stayed home with me, made breakfast, and forced me to watch comedies until I stopped being scared. Emma's just practicing, he said, his hand on my belly, getting ready for her grand entrance. She takes after her father then, always prepared. She takes after both of us, I corrected. Your stubbornness and my anxiety. Great combination. The best combination, he murmured. These quiet moments became precious. I took mental snapshots of them. Jason reading pregnancy books, the way he talked to my belly when he thought I was asleep, telling Emma about his day, promising to always protect her. The nursery slowly came together. My parents had chosen to miss all of this. Charlotte too. Their absence was a presence, a ghost whispering that maybe I didn't deserve this joy. I was 7 months along when the eviction notice came. Not from our apartment but from my parents' lives completely. The email, sent from my father's account, was formal, cold, like a business document. Due to your continued disregard for our counsel and your insistence on proceeding with an unplanned pregnancy despite financial instability, we are officially severing all familial ties. Do not contact us again. You are no longer welcome in our home or our lives. You have proven yourself to be a burden we can no longer carry. I threw up after reading it. Jason found me on the bathroom floor. They can't do this, he kept saying. They can't just abandon you. But they could. They did. I stayed in bed for 2 days, unable to eat or sleep. Jason brought me water and crackers, sat beside me without demanding I talk. On the 3rd day, I finally got up, showered, and looked at myself in the mirror. 7 months pregnant, dark circles under my eyes. You're still here, I whispered to my reflection. You're still standing. Jennifer checked on me when I returned to work. They made it official, I told her. Sent a formal letter cutting me off. She winced. That's barbaric. Who does that? I showed her the email. She read it twice, her expression darkening. This is evidence, she said finally. If you ever need to prove what they did, this proves it. Their own words convicting them. I hadn't thought of it that way. I'd only seen it as another wound. But Jennifer was right. Save it, she advised. Print it out. Keep it somewhere safe. You never know when you might need proof. I printed 3 copies, sent one to Catherine and Tom. Catherine called immediately, crying angry tears. How dare they, she raged. How dare they treat you this way? You're their daughter. You're carrying their grandchild. They don't see it that way, I said. Then they're fools. Cruel, selfish fools. She took a shaky breath. Tom and I have been talking. We want to be there when Emma is born. We want to be the grandparent she deserves. If that means moving closer to you and Jason, we'll do it. You can't move across the country because my parents are terrible. I protested. We're not moving because they're terrible. We're moving because you and Jason and Emma are our family, and families show up for each other. Tom's already looking at accounting firms in Denver. The gesture overwhelmed me. This level of sacrifice, for someone who was only their daughter-in-law, felt almost incomprehensible after months of my own family's coldness. Thank you, I managed. That means everything. Something hardened in me after that call. I'd spent weeks mourning the family I'd lost, grieving the relationship I'd thought we had. But maybe I'd been grieving a fantasy. Maybe the loving, supportive family I'd imagined had never really existed. I started therapy the following week with Dr. Rachel Winters, specializing in family trauma. Tell me why you're here, she said. I told her everything. What do you want from therapy? She asked. I want to stop feeling like this is my fault. Like if I'd just been a better daughter, they would have loved me enough to accept my baby. Do you believe intellectually that this is your fault? No, I said. I know logically I didn't do anything wrong. But emotionally, I keep searching for the moment I ruined everything. The thing I said or did that made them hate me. That's trauma, Dr. Winters said gently. Trauma makes us blame ourselves because self-blame feels safer than accepting that people we love can be cruel for no reason. If it's our fault, we can fix it. If it's their choice, we're powerless. The sessions became a lifeline. Your pregnancy didn't create these problems, Dr. Winters explained. It just forced them into the light. The 7th month brought physical discomfort that distracted from the emotional pain. My back ached, sleep was impossible. Emma seemed determined to practice kickboxing on my ribs at 3 a.m. Jason bought a massive U-shaped pregnancy pillow. He'd wake up with me rubbing my back, bringing water. Hey kiddo, your mom needs to sleep. How about you take a break from the gymnastics routine? Emma would kick harder like she was laughing at him. She's stubborn, I said one night. Like her mother. Like both her parents, he corrected. We've been calling her Emma. But what about a middle name? Rose, after my grandmother? Emma Rose. I tested the name. It's perfect. Jason smiled in the darkness. She's going to be a force of nature. Catherine and Tom's visit happened 2 weeks before the baby shower text. They flew in, showed up with suitcases and gifts. Catherine hugged me for a full minute. Look at you, she said. You're glowing. I'm exhausted and swollen and haven't seen my feet in weeks, I protested. Glowing, she insisted. They stayed 5 days, the best 5 days I'd had in months. Tom helped Jason finish the nursery. Catherine cooked, taught me breathing exercises, shared stories about Jason as a baby. He was such a serious infant, she said. Never smiled unless you really earned it. But when he did smile, it was like the sun coming out. He's still like that, I said, grinning at my husband. You have a poker face at work, but at home, I know exactly what you're thinking. Tom laughed. That's the Reeves family curse. We're all terrible liars. Their visit felt like proof that family could be something different, something better. When they left, Catherine hugged me again, whispering, You're going to be an amazing mother. Don't let anyone make you doubt that. For days later, my phone buzzed. A text from Helen. My heart jumped. Maybe she changed her mind? Baby shower this Saturday at Rosselli's restaurant. 2 p.m. We want to make things right. I read it 5 times, barely breathing. Jason was at work. I called him immediately. It could be a trap, he said carefully. Or it could be an olive branch. Maybe they realized how horrible they've been. Maybe Charlotte talked to them. He was quiet for a long moment. If you want to go, I'll come with you. The text says just me. I think this is their way of apologizing without a big scene. Please, Jason. They're my family. I have to try. He made me promise to call him the second I got there, and to leave if anything felt wrong. I agreed. Saturday arrived bright and warm. I spent an hour getting ready, choosing a maternity dress my mother had always complimented, carefully doing my makeup to hide weeks of stress. The baby kicked steadily. We're going to meet your grandparents, I whispered, pressing my hand to my belly. It's going to be okay. Rosselli's was an upscale Italian place where my family celebrated important occasions. I had good memories there. I pulled into the parking lot at 2:15, fashionably late, just like my mother taught us. The restaurant looked quiet. I checked my reflection one last time, then walked toward the entrance. The moment I pushed through the heavy wooden door, a sickening dread washed over me. Something was terribly wrong. The dining room was a disaster. Tables pushed together, stained tablecloths, empty plates, dirty wine glasses. Deflated balloons hung sadly. A congratulations banner was half torn down. A waitress was stacking plates, looking exhausted. A busboy folded decorations into trash bags. My mother stood in the center, arms crossed, her face hard. Charlotte leaned against the bar, a wicked smirk on her face. Eric stood nearby, scrolling on his phone. Marcus was absent. You came, Helen said, her voice devoid of warmth. I don't understand, I whispered. The text said 2 o'clock. The party started at noon. Charlotte chirped cheerfully. It was beautiful. Everyone had a wonderful time. My brain struggled to process her words. But you told me to. Did I? Helen pulled out her phone, making a show of checking it. Oh, look at that. I must have made a typo. How careless of me. My own baby shower. It had happened without me. I looked at the empty plates, the crumpled wrapping paper. They'd celebrated my pregnancy and excluded me entirely. Why would you do this? My voice came out small, broken. Because you needed to learn a lesson, my mother said. Actions have consequences. You chose to keep that baby against our advice. You chose to be selfish, so we chose to celebrate without you. Just then, a man in a suit, the manager, emerged from the back office. Mrs. Brennan, he said to my mother, we've settled the bill. Thank you for your patronage. Helen turned to me, and her face transformed into something ugly. Actually, my daughter will be handling the payment. The bill comes to $6,800. Pay it now. Everything stopped. The manager looked uncomfortable. Charlotte's smirk widened into a grin. I felt like I was underwater, drowning. I don't understand. What are you talking about? The baby shower bill, Helen said slowly, as if I were stupid. Your baby shower, your responsibility. I just got here. The party already happened. And whose fault is that? If you'd been on time, you could have enjoyed it. But you're always late. Always irresponsible. The bill is still yours to pay. Charlotte pushed off the bar, walking towards me. Consider it payback for all those years. What years? Payback for what? For being born, she said simply. For taking Mom's attention. For existing. Take your pick. I looked at the manager. Sir, I didn't attend this party. I didn't order anything. I'm not paying for this. Helen's face went purple with rage. You ungrateful little. After everything we've done for you, all the money we spent raising you, you won't even pay for your own baby shower? You excluded me from my own baby shower. I yelled back. Pay the bill. Her voice rose to a shriek. Pay it right now. No. I said it firmly. Clearly. The word hung in the air between us. Helen moved faster than I'd ever seen her. She grabbed something from the hostess stand, a heavy wooden menu board. She swung it like a baseball bat. The edge caught me on the left side of my head. The impact sent me sideways. My feet tangled. I went down hard, my hip hitting the floor first, then my shoulder. My head bounced off the tile. Pain exploded through my skull. I tasted blood. The ceiling spun above me. Voices shouted, but they seemed impossibly far away. I tried to curl around my stomach to protect our baby, but my body wouldn't respond. Something warm trickled down my neck. Charlotte's face appeared above me. Get up. Stop being so dramatic. Someone call 911. That was the manager. She's fine. Helen insisted. She's faking. She always does this for attention. I tried to speak, but my mouth wouldn't work right. The baby. I thought desperately. Please let the baby be okay. A shadow fell across me. Then a voice that cut through the chaos like a knife. What the hell did you do? Jason. He was there. Somehow. He dropped to his knees beside me, his hands gentle on my face. Don't move her, he said to the manager. Her head is bleeding. Where's the ambulance? Already called, sir, the manager replied. Are you family? I'm her husband. Jason looked up at my mother. His face was terrible to see. What did you do to her? She refused to pay the bill. Helen stammered, her voice suddenly wavering. She needed to learn. You hit a pregnant woman with a weapon. Jason stood slowly, his voice deadly calm. You assaulted your own daughter. Do you understand what you've done? Charlotte stepped forward. She's fine. She's just... Shut up. Jason didn't raise his voice, but Charlotte flinched. He pulled out his phone. I recorded everything. Helen's face went gray. What? I followed her here because I had a bad feeling. I've been standing outside the window for the last 10 minutes. I recorded the whole thing. You admitting you lied about the time. You demanding she pay for a party she didn't attend. You hitting her with that board. Jason held up his phone, showing the screen. Even from the floor I could see the video playing. You can't, Helen whispered. That's illegal. You can't record someone without permission. Colorado is a one-party consent state, Jason said, his voice dangerously calm. I'm a party to this situation as her husband. The recording is perfectly legal, and it clearly shows assault with a deadly weapon against a pregnant woman. Eric, who had been silent, suddenly sprang to life. Helen, maybe we should. This video will be on every social media platform by tomorrow morning, Jason continued, his gaze fixed on my mother. I'll make sure everyone in Willow Creek sees it. Your friends at church, your book club, Dad's golf buddies. Everyone will know exactly what kind of people you are. You wouldn't dare. But Helen's voice shook. Try me, Jason paused. Unless we settle this right now. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. I tried again to move, managed to shift my hand to my stomach. Still round. Still there. Asterisk, please be okay. Baby girl, please. Asterisk, what do you want? Marcus had appeared, looking older, smaller. Jason knelt beside me again, but kept his eyes on my family as he spoke. First, you're going to tell the police this was an accident. That the menu board fell and hit her. You're not going to press charges for the bill. But second, you're going to pay her medical bills. All of them. Including therapy for the trauma you've caused. Helen's mouth opened and closed. Third, you're going to sign a legal document agreeing to never contact her again. Unless she initiates it. No calls, no texts, no showing up at our house. She's done with all of you. She's our daughter, Marcus said weakly. You gave up that right when you called her a burden. When you kicked her out for being pregnant. When you threw a party without her and tried to make her pay for it. When your wife hit her with a weapon hard enough to split her head open. The paramedics burst through the door. Jason moved aside to let them work, but kept his phone visible, the video playing on loop. Everything after that blurred together. The ambulance ride, the hospital. The ultrasound tech's relieved smile when she found the baby's strong heartbeat. The doctor stitching up my head, 15 stitches in a curved line above my ear. The concussion diagnosis. The mandatory overnight observation. Jason never left my side. The police came to take my statement. I told them what happened. They watched Jason's video 3 times. They asked if I wanted to press charges. Jason squeezed my hand. No, I said finally. I just want them to leave us alone. The officers looked disappointed but didn't push. They did have a long conversation with Helen in the hallway. I heard my mother crying, which was strange. I'd never heard her cry before. The older officer, Sergeant Brooks, came back to my bedside before they left. She had gray hair pulled back in a tight bun and eyes that had seen too much. I've been doing this job for 23 years, she said quietly, so only I could hear. I've seen a lot of family violence. This is one of the worst cases I've encountered because it was so calculated. Your mother planned this. She knew what she was doing when she sent that text with the wrong time. She wanted to humiliate you. And when that wasn't enough, she escalated to physical violence. Why are you telling me this? I whispered. Because I want you to understand that not pressing charges is your choice. And I respect it. But don't let anyone, including your own mind, convince you later that this wasn't that bad, or that you're overreacting. What happened to you today was assault with a deadly weapon against a pregnant woman. In my professional opinion, your mother is dangerous. Stay away from her. After she left, I closed my eyes and felt Emma moving inside me. Still okay. Still safe. That's all that mattered. Later a lawyer came. Not a hospital lawyer, but someone Jason had called. His name was Robert Shepard and he had kind eyes. Your husband showed me the video, he said. I've drafted a restraining order and a contract. If your parents sign both documents and agree to cover your medical expenses, you'll agree not to press criminal charges or pursue a civil suit. What if they don't sign? Then the video goes public, and I file both criminal and civil charges on your behalf. With that video evidence, you'd win easily. Assault with a weapon, especially against a pregnant woman, carries serious penalties. I closed my eyes. Part of me wanted to see them punished, but a larger part just wanted peace. I'll sign whatever keeps them away from me. Robert smiled. I thought you'd say that. I'll have the documents ready by morning. They signed. Of course they signed. The alternative was public humiliation and possible jail time for Helen. Marcus co-signed a check for $12,000 to cover medical bills and therapy. They signed the no-contact agreement. They signed the custody waiver acknowledging they would have no rights to the baby. Charlotte sent one final text before blocking me. "You always were manipulative. Enjoy your little victory." I deleted it without responding. But life after signing those papers wasn't immediately better. I spent a week in our apartment afraid to leave, jumping every time the doorbell rang. Dr. Winters increased our sessions to twice weekly. "You've been through a severe trauma," she explained. "Your body and mind need time to process what happened. The hypervigilance you're experiencing is normal." "I keep replaying it," I confessed. The moment she grabbed that menu board, the look on her face. She wanted to hurt me. My own mother wanted to cause me physical pain. "Yes," Dr. Winters said simply. "She did. And accepting that truth is one of the hardest things you'll ever do." Jason worked from home that week, setting up his laptop at the dining table so he could be near me. He'd look up every few minutes checking that I was okay. "You don't have to babysit me," I said. "I'm not babysitting," he replied. "I'm being here for my wife who went through something traumatic." "There's a difference." Jennifer visited, bringing food and gossip from work. "Your job is secure," she assured me. "You've got full medical leave, and your position will be waiting when you're ready to come back." The normalness felt like medicine. The bruise on my head turned spectacular colors. The stitches itched. I'd look at myself in the mirror, at the physical evidence of my mother's violence, and feel strangely disconnected. Robert Shepard called to confirm everything was finalized. The restraining order was active. If Helen or Marcus came within 500 feet, they'd be arrested. "What about Charlotte?" I asked. "She wasn't involved in the assault, so we couldn't include her in the restraining order. But the no-contact agreement technically covers her, since she was part of the scheme. If she harasses you, document it and call me." "And Eric, Sophie, and Dylan?" Robert paused. "The children are minors and had no part in this. Eric wasn't included because he didn't participate in the assault or extortion. He was just present." Just present. That phrase bothered me. Eric had stood there while his mother-in-law assaulted his pregnant sister-in-law. He'd done nothing. In some ways, that passivity felt as damaging as active cruelty. Paula called again, having heard through the family grapevine. "Helen is telling everyone you attacked her and that she was defending herself," Paula said, her voice tight with anger. "She's playing the victim, saying you tried to leave without paying, and became violent." "Of course she is," I sighed. I told her I didn't believe her. I asked why, if you were so violent, the police didn't arrest you. She hung up on me. "Paula, I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. Do people believe her?" I asked. "Some do. Her church friends mostly, posting supportive messages about ungrateful children. It's making me sick." I'd expected this, but it still hurt. Helen was rewriting history. In Willow Creek, reputations mattered. She was destroying mine. "Let her," Jason said. "Let her lie. The people who matter know the truth. We have the video. If anyone important asks, we have proof." "But what about Emma?" I worried. "When she's older, she might hear these stories. She might think I really did attack her grandmother." "Then we'll show her the video," he replied. "We'll tell her the truth. Kids are smart. She'll figure out who the real villain is." The thought of showing our daughter footage of her grandmother assaulting me felt surreal and sad. But Jason was right. Truth was our best weapon. Catherine and Tom flew back 10 days after the assault. Catherine took one look at the fading bruise on my head and started crying. "I should have been here," she wept. "I should have protected you." "You couldn't have known," I said. "But I knew they were capable of cruelty. I should have insisted Jason go with you." We spent hours talking. Catherine listened, held my hand, and reminded me that Emma's birth would be beautiful because it was about life and love, not Helen's violence. Tom pulled Jason aside for a serious conversation. Later, Jason told me they discussed security for the hospital. "Dad thinks we should use a fake name when you register. That way, if your parents try to show up, the hospital won't confirm you're there." "Can we do that?" Dad called. "They said it's common for people in domestic violence situations. They'll register you under whatever name we choose, and only people on our approved list can visit." The practicality of it, having to hide in a hospital under a fake name to avoid my own mother, hit me hard. This was my life now. This was what Helen had reduced us to. 6 weeks later, Jason and I sat in the hospital again. But this time for a joyful reason. Our daughter Emma Rose arrived 3 weeks early, healthy and screaming. She had Jason's dark hair and my nose, and when they placed her on my chest, I cried happy tears for the first time in months. Jason's parents flew in. Catherine held Emma and cried. Tom took endless pictures. They stayed for 2 weeks helping us adjust, cooking, doing laundry, telling us we were doing great even when Emma cried for 3 hours straight. This was what family looked like. Not Helen's cold demands or Charlotte's cruelty. This warmth, this support, this pure love. We moved 6 months after Emma was born. Jason got a promotion with a firm in Denver, a significant raise. I found remote work, letting me stay home with Emma. We bought a small house with a yard and a nursery painted yellow. I didn't tell my parents we moved. They had no right to know. Life got better slowly. Therapy helped me process the trauma. Emma thrived, hitting every milestone early. Jason and I grew stronger together, bound by what we'd survived. One afternoon when Emma was 18 months old, I was at a coffee shop when I saw Charlotte. She was alone, no kids, scrolling on her phone. She glanced up and our eyes met. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then, Charlotte looked away and walked out without ordering. I stayed and finished my coffee. It tasted sweeter somehow. The Reddit post came later, on a sleepless night when Emma was teething and I needed to process everything. I typed out the whole story, every horrible detail, and posted it to a revenge subreddit. The response overwhelmed me. Thousands of comments, all supportive. People sharing their own stories of family betrayal. Messages from strangers. Awards piling up. One comment stuck with me. The best revenge is living well. They were right. Emma's second birthday party had 50 guests. All real friends who loved us. Jason's parents came bearing gifts and joy. My coworkers sent a massive teddy bear. Our neighbors brought homemade cookies. No Helen, no Marcus. No Charlotte. And I didn't miss them for a second. The video still exists somewhere on Jason's backup drives. We've never posted it publicly. Never needed to. The threat was enough. Sometimes I think about deleting it, but Jason says we should keep it just in case. Emma starts preschool next month. She's smart and funny and completely unaware that her maternal grandparents exist. When she asks about them someday, I'll tell her the truth. That family is about love, not blood. That some people aren't capable of the kind of love a child deserves. That we chose to protect her from toxicity. And that choice was an act of love. Then last week a letter arrived. No return address, but I recognized Helen's familiar, elegant handwriting. Jason wanted to throw it out, unopened. I almost let him. Instead I opened it. Just 3 sentences. I've been diagnosed with cancer. Stage 4. If you want to see me, you know where I am. I read it twice, then crumpled it into the recycling bin. Emma called from her playroom, wanting help with a puzzle. I went to her, leaving the letter behind. Some bridges once burned stay burned. And that's exactly how it should be. What would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to choose your peace over toxic family? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to hear your thoughts.